Well, I decided to clean out the freezer in my fridge because I was having some conflicts with my fridge freezing my fresh food. And it was because most likely I had way too many things, like 5 or 6 packets of peas. These ones particular were ones that I had picked and blanched out of my garden this past season, and I must have forgotten that I had tucked part bags in there, and I just kept filling new ones. So I feel like these peas need to go into the freeze dryer. So I'm setting them to the side, getting them ready to freeze dry so they will go out of the freezer and onto the pantry for an extended life and more convenience. These peas, they actually, I didn't know they were in there. They came from camp when my husband still worked in camp. He brought some produce home at the end of the season when they were taking everything down. And he brought a few things home, and these were one of the things. And it's probably been in there for over a year for sure. So those are going in the freeze dryer too. This is cauliflower from my garden, and I found some random bags of corn that I had no idea were in there. So those are definitely going in the freeze dryer. Some beans. I'm going to use these sometime in the next few days, so I'm going to tuck them back in the freezer. But like, who needs all of these bags of pierogies? These were some of the pierogies I made. I found some pepper hot sauce that I really wanted to use this week as well. Some soup that scared the crap out of me when I found it. I don't know what's going on with that, but it's something leaked in my freezer, and it's a mystery soup. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think if I remember correctly, a few years ago I had really bad pneumonia, and I was like super sick, having to go to the hospital and get IV. And I think that this soup was from then. And so I think I'm going to toss it. I don't feel very confident eating it. And if I remember, I think it was really, really bad tasting soup anyway. So, yeah. And I found some gluten-free pierogies and some really, really, really freezer burnt roast beef. So those are going to be dog treats, and they're going to love it because I don't ever really buy dog treats for the dogs, but I have some training coming up, and they will be really excited to have roast beef treats. So that's what that's going to be in the coming days. Okay, so don't judge me, but I found 5 bags of pierogies, part bags of pierogies in that little tiny compartment in my freezer that I had no idea were there because they were like just shoved in there so tightly that I don't even know how. But yes, those are the gluten-free ones. And then I have some regular ones. One of the bags I had at around Christmas time I'd opened because I didn't know the other one was in there. And then I had some homemade ones. So I'm definitely going to be working on the pierogies. The pierogies in this bag I actually made dinner with later in this video. So that's exciting. But I got rid of 2 part bags. These were the potatoes that I had stabbed with a fork when I was digging them, not this season, the season before. And so I had made these pierogies to use up those potatoes that had been damaged during harvest. So it was definitely time. I found some random turkey that I actually think that it had thawed and then was frozen again. So I'm also going to use this as dog treats. It looks like really nice meat though, so I was really bummed, but I wasn't confident with it. So the dogs are going to be getting those as a treat as well with the roast beef. So, and random shrimp, I think these probably have been in there for, I don't even know. They're almost freeze dried naturally. That's how freezer burnt they are. So those got tossed, and I did feel really bad. I should have like cleaned my freezer out sooner, but I didn't. And some tater tots that we will be using up here eventually too, this in the coming days. So all of this stuff fit into this teensy tiny little compartment in the fridge. It's sad. And look at how much stuff is still in there. I don't even know how. I think my fridge is magic. Anyways, it's time to start dealing with this mess. I actually did a little bit more rummaging, and guess what? I found some roast beef in broth. So I decided to pop it down into a pot, and I just turned the heat on kind of like medium low, and I let it slowly start to melt and just let it lightly simmer for like, I don't know, it was like an hour or almost 2 hours. I let it simmer on low until supper was ready, but it was really good. I will tell you, it was such an awesome find in the freezer. I was really excited when I found it. I wasn't sure what it was, but then I could sort of read the label, and yeah, it was a roast beef that I'd sliced in and poured back into the bag with the broth. And so I just found an onion, went out to my storage and found an onion that was sprouting, chopped it up, threw it on top, let it simmer, do its thing. It was perfect. In Tyson's family, they make this casserole with pierogies, and he really likes it. I don't think I recall the last time I bought cream of mushroom soup, but I did buy a couple cans at Christmas time to make this casserole dish. And so this is not something I make very often, but I thought it would be a great way to use up some of those pierogies. So I just opened a couple of cans of cream of mushroom soup, condensed soup, and I just added it into a heavy pot. And basically, like, it's like you could do this with like dairy free if you want. I think I've done it actually with cashew milk and made like my own cream sauce with mushrooms and stuff in it. So I have done it alternative ways, but these cans of mushroom soup were in my cupboard and I wanted to use them up because it is a pantry challenge. I then grabbed some of the freeze-dried mushrooms that I had on my pantry shelf, and I just crumbled them up. That's the beauty about freeze-dried food. You don't have to chop anything. You just crumble it with your hands. And I just gave it a good stir, made sure that the mushrooms started to absorb some of the condensed soup. I seasoned it with lots of pepper, and I grabbed some dill, and I threw in probably 1.5 tablespoons of dry dill. And I know dry dill is really potent, but this recipe really does well with having a heavy hit of dill. I then added some cashew milk, and I just I don't know the measurements because the mushrooms absorb so much liquid, and so if I give you a measurement, it would be inaccurate for what you need. I also found another little tiny bit of cream in the fridge that was close to expiring, and so I added it in, just like, I think it was like a couple tablespoons of cream. And then I found some cottage cheese in my in my cupboard. So it's freeze-dried cottage cheese, and I thought it would be really good because I didn't have any cottage cheese pierogies. I just had potato, and so I wanted to add a little bit of that flavor and texture into this dish. And then I just placed in the pierogies that I found in the freezer. These were like, they had a little bit of a thicker dough because they were homemade and they had been in the freezer for a while, and they were made with I can't remember the type of flour it was, but it was like an organic heritage heirloom flour, and so they were a little bit more tougher than the regular ones. Then I found some back bacon. Now, Canadian back bacon is basically just smoked pork loin. It's fully cooked, and I freeze-dried it because I had some really nice pieces of it. For convenience, like this, I can just crumble it up like bacon bits, and it gives a really nice smoky flavor. So these were shelf stable because I had freeze-dried them, and I think I freeze-dried them a couple months ago, and they were just sitting there, and it made a really nice flavor in this dish. Normally, I don't think people put bacon in this casserole, but it was it was nice. It was a nice little addition for sure. So I just covered it up, popped it in the oven, and let it cook. Checked on the beef. It looked great. And so I just let it simmer. So that's in the oven. That's a bubbling away. Let's go check the freeze dryer and make sure it's ready to start. All right, so my freeze dryer is ready to turn on. I'm gonna show you what I have. You had to walk by. Okay. Oh, we got a visitor. Hi, Tom. So with the stuff that I found in my fridge freezer, what I was able to move out of there was this was 3 bags of peas that I had harvested out of my garden that I forgot about, and I found them in the back of the fridge or freezer. This was 2 part bags of corn. So this is store-bought corn, but this is really good to eat as a snack, just plain when it's freeze-dried, so we're gonna enjoy that. I had a part bag of fruit, and these were fruit that I freeze-dried before that didn't quite finish, and I threw them in the freezer, so I'm gonna redo them again. And then these are soybeans. So I found a part bag of those, which I know that they're really good with salt on when you're like doing trail riding or boating. And then I'm going to freeze dry there's some cauliflower that I found, and this is homegrown stuff, so I'm going to freeze dry it, then blend it up, and then make a cauliflower pizza crust out of it to use up some of my pizza sauce was my intention. And then there's the peas. There's 2 part bags of peas. One is from my garden from this year, and one is a mystery bag or part of a mystery bag from the store that looks not very great, but it'll be fine. So that made a lot of room in my freezer, and these will be stuff that we will use. You see how often I grab for veggies that are freeze dried. It's so much more convenient and it doesn't take up space, and this will extend the life of these from needing to be used up immediately to being able to have them shelf stable for up to a couple more years at least, if I package them properly, up to 20 years or 25 years. So just double check. Yeah, it's closed. Freezing. Woo! I feel like I need an award after that whole magical experience of making space. That made some room in here. That was like really awesome. This meal actually, it turned out great. The roast beef was just perfect. I served it with a salad of romaine lettuce with some store-bought poppy seed onion dressing, and I topped my salad with some freeze-dried pears that were slowly reconstituting with the dressing. It was really good, and I just found that the pierogi done this way is so great. Try it if you haven't. You'll love it. Thanks for watching. Bye.